Yeah, so, you know, whatever, obviously we're going to be reacting to some videos, but I wanted to give a little update at the beginning of this one. I didn't stream today, because I'm having some digestive issues is really what I'll say. I'm not going to get into it because I don't want to gross people out or anything, but I'm definitely having some strange issues, and I don't really know when depending on how quickly I can get these issues resolved in myself, you know, I don't know when I'll be live again, but that will not change the videos, okay? That will not change me getting all the videos that I get out like I normally do. So, but it's just for anybody who watches the streams. But, oh, you can't even see shit. Drake is in huge trouble again. Oh my god, bro. What did this guy do this time, bruh? What did this guy do this time, bruh? This is a video by Pyro Live. The original video being in the top link in the description. Please support the original content.
Well, it's happened again. It seems that Drake has somehow dragged himself into internet drama. I mean, who could have seen this coming?
Into internet drama,
various associations with questionable gambling websites and also Aiden Russ. But throughout all of this...
What the fuck was that?
With questionable gambling websites and also Aiden Russ. But throughout all of this, his music has mostly stayed out of the drama. That is apart from Kai Cenat. Basically, Kai said that his Iceman series was incredibly boring.
I can't fake it. I can't fake it.
Bro, that's Kai Cenat, though. Who gives a shit about his opinion? You know?
That was... I can't fake it. I can't fake it. I actually can't fake it. I actually can't fake it. That was so...
And you might also remember the beef between Drake.
Which is crazy because I spent at least the trio of things that he put out for that, and then this official song he's put out have actually been pretty good. So
and Kendrick, where...
But it makes sense because it's Kai Cenat.
Kendrick would make some banger songs, and I did a video covering that about a year ago, and I got half the names wrong. Tory Lanez and Metro's booming track. Let's not talk about that, okay?
Tory Lanez and Metro's booming.
Well, now a new lawsuit has been brought against Spotify, which is addressing Drake. So, yeah, it's not looking good. So there's a rapper called RBX, and this guy... Okay, look, I know I'm talking about rappers' names in this video. Can I get a break?
No,
please.
Never.
But anyway, RBX is Snoop Dogg's cousin. And he actually started a class action lawsuit against Spotify stating that they've been turning a blind eye to fraudulent streaming. Now, this...
Yeah, I mean... I think it's very obvious that... See, this is the thing. When Drake was suing for the campaign against him and the... UGM or whatever, fucking artificially inflating Kendrick's numbers for Not Like Us, people aren't going to want to hear this, but he was right. Here's the problem, though. Here's the issue, right? See, now hold on, because here's the issue. Obviously, he's right. Get your dick eats out of here. Anybody who's about to dick eat Kendrick in the comment section, well, go right ahead. You know, do whatever you want. But that's lame. Come on, really think about this. Obviously, that's what was going on. The problem is that obviously Drake has a lot of fucking fake streams too. He's not the guy to say it. That's the issue, right? Drake's not the guy to go after somebody for fake streams. He does the same shit, you know? Well, actually, he kind of is, because maybe he has a better understanding of how it works. But anyways, so it's like, yeah. But I always hated that. People are like, oh, Drake, why is he doing that? Grr. It's like, well, what do you mean? It's obvious. Like,
this is mostly...
Since he's not the one to do it, right? Obviously, the perception of that's going to be bad because people are retarded and don't think, and they don't, you know, they're not able to have the nuance understanding in their mind that, well, he's right, but he's just not the person to say it.
Centered around botted streams. When I read the lawsuit originally, I thought it was one of those kind of, you know, a South Park bit where the millionaire's in his mansion. It's like, oh, someone's streaming my song illegally. Oh, good heavens. God forbid that. Everyone must pay to listen.
What's the matter with him?
What?
This month he was hoping to have a gold-plated Shark Tank bar installed right next to the pool. But thanks to people downloading his music for free, he must now wait a few months before he can afford it.
That's funny.
But no, we're not talking about that. We're more talking about botted viewers. Like, basically making songs appear, I'm not saying the word, bigger, okay, I'm allowed to say that word, bigger than how they actually are view-wise. The exact same problem with streamers, like for example, Neon. Like I've happily mentioned about that guy loads of times. It's very obvious that the guy is most likely probably botting his streams.
At one point, Neon was botting
Oh, no.
36,000. I remember this dude.
Yeah, a lot of botting's a huge issue in music and streaming. In I don't know about in videos. I actually be curious about that, but on those two things, yeah.
90.
And I get it, it's a cope as long as time. This person, they get views, they're botting just because I don't like them. You can apply that to music streams, you can apply
People do that too.
that to YouTube video views. You can apply that to Twitch views as well. And we know definitely with Twitch, for example, that view botting is a huge problem, but now it actually seems
Yes,
to
it
have
is.
broken containment and gone into the mainstream a bit. So this lawsuit actually
No,
uses
it's been in the music industry for forever. What did Kanye say? He said, I mean, it's Kanye. You never know if he's, you never know. But he said artists will buy their own albums, and obviously that must have been, if he was saying that, it probably was prior to, how nobody buys albums anymore. You know what I mean? Everybody's streaming. So but that they would buy their own albums in the past to inflate their first week numbers and things like that.
Drake as a prime example, saying that he racked up more than 100 million streams on some of the songs from accounts that apparently had 0 residential addresses. And also these accounts apparently moved unreasonable locations between songs. Now, it's very obvious what the outcome is here. 1, they're botting the songs. Or 2, which is more likely, they're probably using a VPN. Because again, I'm not sure if you guys know, there's been a lot of digital ID checking going around recently that was basically a test bed in the UK. I think it's actually being implemented into Australia pretty soon as well. And then it will basically just happen to like most Western countries. This is what happens. And obviously during that time, VPNs shot up in popularity because it's like, you don't want to give your ID away in case there's like a data breach of what you're like whacking off to or something. And obviously during that ID check, the amount of people...
Hey, man, that's a crazy pause. I don't mind. Listen, I watch some weird shit. I'm a gooner.
Like a data breach
It is
of
what
what
it
you're
is.
like whacking off to or something. And obviously
If
during
it
that
ever comes out one day, I'm just going to be like, yeah, that was me. I watched that.
ID check,
You know what I mean?
the amount of people using VPNs skyrocketed, mostly because they didn't want to hand their ID over, especially in the UK, because it wasn't even the UK government that was managing the IDs. It was basically being sent off to third-party American companies. Oh, if there's a data breach.
Yeah, that is the issue. Why isn't it just a fucking... Oh, my God. That's the issue with that shit. It really is that big corporations are the ones handling all that. That's awful, man.
Being sent off to...
I'm not against the ID verification thing. It's just the way... there's just no way that they don't fucking fuck it up. You know what I mean? That they don't use it to control people more.
third-party American companies. Oh, if there's a data breach, I hope they don't find out you like BBC. I do like that great terror that people are worried about, like, what they're into could possibly be leaked with the ties and associations with using digital ID to verify yourself. It's like, oh, no one knew I was a DJ and I just watched Paracynical. Okay, is he wrong? It's like the sign.
Yeah, I don't know why people are so ashamed of, like, that type of stuff. Like, you don't need, I'm not saying you need to be out here, like, just be like, yeah, I watched it, I did. No, it's still a private time. It's a private thing. But you don't need to be ashamed about it. Why that?
Were always there. They were always there. Now, it is important to note that Drake is not the target of the lawsuit. What? I'm doing that Andrew Tate thing. Did you notice how like Andrew Tate always did this, and then like Mr. Beast started copying him for some reason? I had no idea why he did that. Now,
Illuminati.
RBX doesn't personally
They're not
believe
really
that
reptiles.
Drake or his team have actually been involved themselves in
Lizard
any
people.
wrongdoing. Apart from filming cringe videos where they pretend a drone flew to his apartment. Oh no. Ignore the fact that the gambling website I'm associated with is on my computer. Did you notice as well during that video how
actually funny.
soy he looked when he threw, what was it, a sandal or something? Now, despite saying...
He's trying not to hit it's a sketch. He's trying not to hit the drone.
that Drake or his team haven't done any wrong. They are basically trying to use him as a prime example of their lawsuit. And again, I really can't help that this is definitely some like ulterior motive here, like a sneak diss towards him or something, especially with what happened with him and Kendrick. Because keep in mind, back in November 20...
Nah. I'm not saying definitely, right? I'm not making any accusations, okay? But Drake bought his... I'm sorry, he bought his streams. Or his streams are inflated somehow. I don't know how they do it, but they're inflated. Like, obviously. And most of the mainstream pop stars, these people, they do that shit. Absolutely.
Happened with him and Kendrick. Because keep in mind, back in...
It doesn't even necessarily need to be botted. It could be like the label just pushes it out so hard, like... on a bunch of different places, you know what I'm saying?
November 2024, when, you know, the whole Kendrick and Drake beef...
It's artificially inflated numbers.
Actually started to die down. Drake actually levied some pretty heavy accusations against Spotify and then UMG, Universal Music Group. And he actually claimed the exact same thing that RBX is now...
But that's the thing, is they're all doing it. That's what... It's literally the Spider-Man meme where they're all pointing at each other. That's literally what this shit is. They're all doing it.
Claiming, you know, using Drake as an example, saying that, you know, during the Kendrick beef, Kendrick's songs were doing numbers, and he thinks that they were like artificially made, expanded. Okay, I'm not gonna say anything else. Expanded.
Oh yeah. Oh no.
You get. I mean, the same reason why Spotify might be turning a blind eye to possible botting, the same way that, you know, Twitch or Kick don't really care, especially Kick. I mean, more streams, your numbers go up, you look better as a company. I remember even reading some cope, like, for example, you know, for the 7 people watching this video that still use Facebook, I'm very sorry for you, by the way. You know, apparently a view is counted on a Facebook video if you just watch like 3 seconds or 6 seconds. I mean, that's not using bots to get your views up, but again, it's those kind of underhanded tactics. So Mark Zuckerberg can be like, wait.
No.
Now I just look like a lesbian librarian, right?
Yeah,
New face filters on Instagram today. This is my favorite one so far. Nice job, team. These are coming straight off. Not wearing those. You know, these glasses, by the way, I only bought these because it's the exact same glasses that Paul Dano wore when he played the Riddler.
I didn't even realize that,
in the Batman film. Like, these are 1-to-1. It's not the pair that he wore. They're not even prescription. They just have a blue light blocker, so I don't, you know, stay up until 4 in the morning. And again, if you do this job of making the numbers look bigger, that looks great for you, but then it hurts everyone on the actual platform. Like, for example, on Spotify, it hurts the artists. They end up being shafted. The way that Spotify pays their artists is a pro-rata model, pro-rata. You picked the right one, okay?
What does it even mean?
That's the only thing I'm going to say wrong in this video. So this basically means that the streams and all the money they've generated are, you know, like meshed together. And then the money is split from what each artist contributed. So if one artist, like, you know, let's say Drake has a bunch of fraudulent streams, then his percentage take will actually end up being larger. So he'll be taking in more earnings. And again, this shafts everyone, not the people that could possibly be botting. I'm not saying that Drake is botting because, you know, I'd rather not be sued. But the same thing of streamers, they're, you know, when they bot, because most platforms, they usually recommend artists that are up and coming, or they just have insane streaming numbers. And if you've got someone that's doing that, there's less chance that much smaller streamers are going to be noticed. Again, okay, I'm going to give you guys some advice right now. If any of you stream on Twitch, like genuinely, you do it as like a hobby, and maybe you want to do it full time, get the f off Twitch right now. Get the f off Twitch. Stream on YouTube. YouTube is not a great platform.
Just multi-stream. Why do you need to stream on one platform?
But it does such a better job recommending smaller streamers as opposed...
It does. No, he's absolutely right. You know, you can't organically... Well, you probably could, like a 1 in a God knows shot of it happening, but you can't anymore grow organically on Twitch. That's just not possible, right? That's, you
to Twitch. Because if you go onto any tab on Twitch, it'll always filter the most viewed streamers, and then you got to scroll all the way down and basically like try to find someone out of pity. But if you might have noticed with YouTube as well, you'll be recommended.
You know what's crazy when you said out of pity? You know what's funny? like around 5 years ago and before that, there actually was like a culture where people would purposefully find small streamers because they just like the culture and the vibe of a smaller streamer more. You know, typically because the chats weren't moving as fast, and you know, you'd be able to watch. You'd be able to. What am I trying to say here? You'd be able to interact with the streamer more. But that culture is like weirdly really died. I don't know what happened. I feel like Twitch really just lost. I mean, just I feel like maybe you just say it like this. It lost its soul. I know that's kind of a corny way of putting it, but that kind of really is what it is. It lost its soul. It lost that feeling of community that it once had. You know. And Kai said that killed it. Anyways.
Videos for no reason have like 20 views, 100 views, and it's like, why am I being recommended this? And you'll get recommended the same thing with streams as well. People that are like, 3 to 5 viewers, and you being on that sidebar on YouTube is so much better than streaming on Twitch, and you're averaging like 3 viewers. I remember when Ludwig did an entire video talking about how, he can like break Twitch by becoming a streamer and no one knows who he is. He couldn't do it. He basically had to end the video because like his stream was so dead, like no one was clicking on it. I mean, currently with pretty much all social media, it is very good and very lucrative to have, thousands or tens or hundreds of thousands of people that aren't actually real, because it basically, it makes your numbers look a lot bigger, and therefore your net worth, for example, can shoot up as well. So basically, from RBX, this lawsuit is targeting Spotify's unwillingness to do anything. And I will be honest,
kind of random, but I remember on Instagram when there was botting of like likes and followers and things like that, and people would use that to get certain sponsorships that they shouldn't be able to get, because they could go to a sponsor and say, look, these are the numbers that I'm getting, and then they get paid more. So that also happens when you artificially inflate your numbers too. It's just overall way like there's a reason why people do it,
Right. I love Spotify. I love Spotify. I like listening to Blade and Echo 2K. Great guys. They're not from China, but great guys. I feel they would try to basically, not acknowledge if they knew that there was an exploit. Because again, once everyone knows about the exploit, it's over. Yep. Then it gets patched. So it's like you try to pretend to be, I'm like blissfully unaware. I've got no idea that there was this exploit with Drake. I mean, a great example here, right? Okay, let me put this in video game terms, because I'll try and not do it in Breaking Bad terms for once. GTA 5. I remember playing that game on the Xbox 360. There would be people in top hats walking down the street with a funny mustache, and they would just be dropping bags of money, like actual money bags.
Bro.
From the Spyro the Dragon franchise. Shout outs if you know that character, by the way.
What? You don't want to pay? What are you saving your money for? Another sequel?
And like you would pick them up and instantly have like 5 mil. And like Rockstar had to like patch that like instantly, because there was an in-game transaction that there was the shark cards you could buy. So they were actually losing out on money. I mean, the lawsuit even states that Spotify has basically done nothing else except window dressing. And the problem is, we'd like to know the numbers of bots, but again, companies keep that tight to their chest. Like for example, the amount of people that streamed Futurama when it came out on Hulu. God, that show fell off. It was so good, and then it fell off. But basically, they claim that the bot streams could actually be in the billions. Now, I'm going to make a very brave statement here. If Drake is actually botting his streams, which I'm not saying he is, this can be...
By the way, obviously I was joking earlier. I don't know if he is or he isn't either, right?
Very, very bad. I mean, he'll be making a lot more money. I mean, he already makes so much from stake, usually gambling away or, throwing a slipper at a drone that they pay.
I think he is, but I don't know for a fact. This is not an accusation.
To fly up to his apartment. Now, a single stream on Spotify is like comedically bad. It's like 0.003 cents or something like that. I think genuinely a stream on Spotify...
Yeah, bro, streams make no money.
...is somehow worse than TikTok, pay-wise. But if that number is in the billions, then it's going to start to add up. Money. But I also do feel here as well, there's a bigger problem with someone who's incredibly rich getting more rich, and that person isn't me. And I also feel in a sense as well, it's made our... I'm not going to fucking say society. I'm not going to say that word. I'm not going to say... Okay, society, sure. I feel now with this claim of like botted streams and stuff, it's made everyone incredibly cynical. I have seen, you know, for example, so many upcoming artists. Who's that guy that looks like Jack Skeleton? Hang on. Tall, music artist, very
What?
skinny. Like that's actually what I'm looking up. I'm not joking. Oh, yeah, he's the first result. There's no way he's the first
fuck?
result. Oh my God. Lanky, tall, lanky singer. Like, for example, at the minute, there's this artist that blew up recently called Samba. And whenever I see the guy mentioned, I don't listen to his music. Believe me, I would never listen to Mumford & Sons in my entire life. But it almost just sounds like, you know, anyone that I see in comment sections is calling the guy a plant. Like, oh, he's got rich parents. He's a Nepo. I mean,
What?
he could be. I have no idea. I'm not listening to that guy's music. But at the same time, you know, with these claims of botted streams and so many artists that are blowing up recently, you know, usually through TikTok, people will always make the claim. It's like, oh, fake industry plant.
Fake.
You know, just everyone's becoming a lot more cynical now.
Who the f is somber?
But I also feel as well, if we have this huge epidemic of botted streams, it could get pretty scary because you could have basically completely talentless people.
Bro, it's already there. What do you mean? I mean, we don't know, but it's already there.
You know, rise through the ranks when other people that are trying to make their own music genuinely and organically, they never get noticed. I mean, there's great examples in the UK.
Hey, let me tell you. Never.
Like you've
Never.
got Glastonbury, BBC One's Big Weekend.
Bro, art has died on every platform. They killed it on every platform. Mr. Beast killed it on YouTube, and Kai Cenat killed it in the streaming world. And I mean, in the music world, it's been dead forever. Like, you know what I mean? Been dead for a while.
Dude, my humor's like washed. I should
You could argue that TikTok killed it if you really want to.
not be
Like, that was
laughing
like,
at
but that would
saying
be like the final nail in the coffin of killing art. you know?
BBC when I'm pushing 30. I should not
Bro, why does Pyro look like he's 19? Like, this is what I don't
be
understand.
laughing at that. Shut up. But again, when artists are invited to perform at these events, are they trying to pick out like new indie experimental artists? They could be, but the highest chance is they're just filtering through who the biggest artists are.
Was he
and if
talking
they
about
can
labels?
be,
Wait, who's he talking about?
Are they trying to pick out like new? Again, when artists are invited to perform at these events,
Oh,
are they
perform
trying
at
to
events,
pick
okay.
out like new indie experimental artists? They could be, but the highest chance is they're just filtering through who the biggest artists are and if they can afford them or not. And then you also have the worst thing to ever hit the music industry: music normies. People that don't try
What?
to find out their own kind of music, they don't try to explore
Oh
anything
yeah, but that's always been a thing. What do you mean? That's always
like
been a
that.
thing.
They'll just put on the radio and listen
They'll
to
just put on Kai Cenat. They'll just put on Mr. Beast.
anything. Now, that's not an issue. That's usually where
No, it's not an
90%
issue.
of people find the kind of music they're
yeah,
in.
yeah. There's nothing wrong with doing that. There's nothing, seriously. I'm being dead serious. I'm not being sarcastic. There is genuinely nothing wrong with doing that, right? I poke fun at it because it's funny. No, I'm not like, but there's nothing. Do whatever you want. You know what I mean? Like whatever you want to like. There is nothing wrong with that at all. Not at all.
To. That's where they, you know, they find their niche or their favorite
Yeah.
artist. It's a great way in like a, you know, a pretty standard way to explore the playing field and see
Exactly.
what you like. Definitely, it's a great place to start. But then the problem is radio usually puts on the popular people who are popular because they're popular. I feel like I'm dragging myself into a corner here regarding music, and I'm not well versed.
I feel like I actually don't know this, but my best guess would be radio is almost entirely owned by labels. It's not even what's most popular. It's just whatever labels want to push.
Some music. You know, I've got that specific kind of mental illness where I'll just listen to the same 5 songs for a year straight. But I do have some good news to sidetrack you
That's called autism, brother. Me too.
from my current conversation. Death Grips made a post on their Instagram saying that they're coming back. Oi, oi! They're back. They're back.
What
They're
was it?
back.
He sounded Russian there. What the fuck was that?
Oh my God, they're actually back. If they go on tour, no one piss on the floor again, please. That is the reason they didn't do anything for 3 years. Now, if
What?
Drake wasn't the only person to get into some drama, We also have Soulja Boy. He needs absolutely no introduction.
What is
Soulja
that?
Boy tried to make a console, I think a couple of years ago. He also laughed at video game developer because he didn't understand the game. That game was Braid, and I think that was like one of the first games to come out on the Xbox 360 Live Arcade. By the way, I come back to this video like every year. It's called Jonathan Blow crying in a dark room about Soulja Boy misunderstanding Brad.
What?
Oh no, this shit called Braid. Oh no, hey, watch this shit. It's about this little guy in a suit.
This game was so successful, by the way.
You know, when you work a long time on something really intricate like that, there's a hope that people are going to understand, you know, the things that you did, and that you'll have some line of communication.
It's just the title.
And they ain't got no point to the game. You just walk around jumping on shit.
They're not
What?
seeing the most important thing.
Not the dark room. Not the pan out. What? I don't remember there being a pan out. Anyway,
That is
so
pretty funny,
Soulja
I won't
Boy,
lie,
who
that is
laughed
pretty-
at a professional game dev, not a very nice thing to do, by the way, don't condone of that. He came out with a new console called the Soulja Game Flip, which is pretty much the equivalent of the Nintendo DS, a console that came out over 10 years ago. I mean, at this rate, to be fair, Sony are probably going to release the PSP 2. Okay, I do want to say here, I do not understand why anyone would want to buy this console, because we already have a famine of no games. There are some
How is he trying to do this console shit again? Yeah, he did this in like, what was it 2018, 2019? Somewhere around there.
games, but there's no games, okay? How is Soulja Boy going to somehow bring games onto the market? I mean, the only options of games you have are console games that get ported over to the PC 3 years later anyway. I'm looking at you, GTA 6. You want everyone to double dip. Disgusting, greedy company. And then you've got indie games that come out on Steam, for example, with PS1 graphics that are usually developed by a trans person. Now, I looked at the first Soulja Boy console that he made, or he got some poor people in a sweatshop to make it. It basically ran emulated games from the Game Boy, DS, other Nintendo properties, which is definitely illegal, and I feel that Nintendo are the worst company that you can ever mess with here. I mean, a great example here, Microsoft, if you emulated Halo onto the Soulja Boy console, Phil Spencer would say, oh, at least someone's playing it. Now, if you look
That's crazy.
at Soulja
That is insane.
Boy's new console, it does look suspiciously like the Retroid Pocket Flip 2 is $230, and then the Soulja Game Flip is actually retailing at $440. Is that?
Wait, so he's literally doing the exact same thing that he did.
USD?
What?
Oh, no,
With the
it's gone
Soulja Boy
already.
and the
They took it
Soulja
down. That was
game
quick.
console, the Soulja whatever.
That was like 2 days ago. What? Oh no, everyone bought them. They were so excited. Now, I'm not really sure what's going to happen with Soulja Boy here. I'm not sure if there'll be like any legal action taken against Retroid, but then they actually gave a statement on the topic and they made it clear that they had no business connections to Soulja Boy. So this actually wasn't a collab. They also said as well that this wasn't any kind of relationship, nor does Soulja Boy have a
Bro, what
license
is
to
happening?
resell their products underneath his name.
What is
and
happening?
according to Retroid as well, they do also have a patent for the Retroid Pocket Flip 2. So a
Uh-oh.
lawsuit could actually be coming if there's grounds for one. Now, the Soulja Boy website, it's a goldmine. That is not the only piece of resold, rebranded trash he's selling. You've got the Soulja Boy AI smart glasses.
What?
And they look incredibly similar to the Ray-Ban Meta Smart AI glasses. I mean, you can see here on the website, there's a listing for it. It's only $64, which is actually, you know, not too bad for AI glasses. But I think personally, all it's going to do is just have a recording feature, which all of these glasses have right now. You've seen all the influencers that go into a restaurant. They're like,
my blood sugar's low. Could I get something for free? And then if you give me it for free, I'll give you $100, but I won't tell you that. I won't tell you that.
Blood sugar's low. Do you sell apple juice?
Have a good day.
What?
Get out of here. Don't bother.
I don't understand the context here. I'm not sure whether Soulja Boy just keeps going into some sort of coma and then waking
I've
up
literally never seen that. What the fuck?
regularly. Because like even back in 2018, consoles got pulled from the store due to a possible lawsuit from Nintendo. Out of any company you could try to rip off, Nintendo is the last one that you should mess with. You know, I've yapped about Nintendo before, like that really cringe partner program they tried to have where it was like, oh, you you can join.
Not Nintendo's ass, bro. Straight up.
Give us some money for playing our games.
The Nintendo
even
fall
though
off
you
has been
already
insane.
paid to buy the game in the first place. They're just so disgustingly out of touch. But again, it's like, you know, I made a video, you know, ribbing on the new Pokemon game, saying how it just was not worth the money. And I still get Rensoids on Twitter complaining about it. Oh, you can't speak bad about my Pokemon. Yes, I will buy it 3 times.
There is a lot of Nintendo dick eaters, which is weird, bro. I don't understand why you would do that.
Yeah, I love Nintendo. But yeah, that was my Yap Fest over. I'm not going to call this an ASOC because it basically isn't. It's only 2 stories. It'll just be something X situation is insane.
That's right. W Pyrocynical, or I just said Pyrocynical. That's insane. W Pyro Live. As I always say, the original video will be in the top link in the description. Please go support him and the original content. Yeah,